Welcome to this worship choir tutorial for the song Great Are You Lord by All Sons and Daughters, based on the recording from their self-titled album. This arrangement is available at centeredworship.com if you'd like a copy for yourself and don't already have one. Alright, looking section by section. The arrangement is worship leader only at the beginning. What that means, and you'll see the cue here for worship leader and the fact that this is smaller size. What that simply means is the choir backs off. Lets a vocalist take the lead there. If you don't have a worship leader, it could be a song leader, it could be a soloist from the choir. Of course, as is always the case in all of my arrangements, you can do whatever you want. My arrangements are simply a starting point, and maybe that's selling myself short. There's certainly complete arrangements that you can sing as written exactly, and they're going to sound great. But I also believe firmly that music is a process. It's created within a community, and I think music is only better when other people are able to offer something to it. So anyway, boy, rabbit trail. Okay, so at the end of the verse, going to the chorus, the choir comes in, "Great are you, Lord," on the hook there. I circled the piano because I want to emphasize that this is not the choir's moment to just step on the scene and take over. This is really intended to be quiet, to be... I guess you could think of it as they're highlighting what the melody is there. They're highlighting what the lead singer is doing there. They're just a highlight. They're not center stage. When they get to the first chorus, they're singing ms. And if you ever worked with a choir that sings ms, hums, they don't produce a lot of volume. Again, that's intentional. Choirs are used to, when they're singing, they're used to being heard, and they're used to doing anthems and singing from octavas and doing special numbers and things like that. And this is very different from probably what your choir is used to. This arrangement as a whole is pretty straightforward, so I'm going to take a minute here to intentionally go down a little rabbit trail and say, because I don't need to spend a ton of time explaining this arrangement. I view one of the fundamental differences between a worship choir and a regular choir is that a worship choir, musically speaking, thinks of itself more as an instrument than as a soloist or as a performer. The choir, the worship choir, in the same way that a guitarist or a pianist or a violinist or whoever has times where they're in, times where they're out, times where they're center stage, times where they're playing backup, times where they're foreground, times where they're background, times where they're doing more textural or effects, times where they're doubling the melody. The choir is going to do the same. A worship choir, in my mind, does the same thing. And so here, by having the choir just outline chords like that on a sound, all they're doing is providing an ethereal effect of sorts. And I think it should be viewed as that and sung as that. The choir's not foreground here. The choir should be very much background, and so much so that they provide more of a context where individual parts aren't decipherable. They're not being heard so much that somebody listening can tell there's 4 parts there. They're just creating a kind of aura around the lead vocalist who's singing the chorus. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Coming out of the chorus before second verse, here they kind of pop back out from behind the curtain, so to speak, great are you, Lord, with a little kind of echo of sorts. All right, then they take center stage at verse 2. So at this point, you might want to have a conversation with your choir. Choir, you've been behind the curtain. Now you step out, you take center stage. It's pretty self-explanatory, 2-part harmony. When they get to the chorus, though they're not singing hums anymore, they're singing ahs, which are louder and more present. They're stepping back behind the curtain to take the background part again, not the foreground. So this kind of flexibility might be new for your choir. They start out in the background, they step to center stage, then they step back behind the curtain. And it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think any choir is going to have trouble with those harmony parts. The rhythms aren't complex. When they get to the bridge, you've got a dotted 8th note rhythm, which in 6/8 is essentially 4/4. It's essentially 4/4 against a 6/8 rhythm. And maybe by my saying that, I just confused you more. If we're in 6/8, which we never leave, by the way, we don't change meters, we just change feels. If I keep a 6 pattern going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I don't think the choir is going to have problems catching that because the accompaniment is going to preempt that rhythm. They're going to feel it and what the drums are doing. If they have troubles with that, the best thing I know how to do to kind of unpack that rhythm is to know that those notes fall pretty logically on 1 and 3 and the and of 2 and the and of 5. And if you're counting your 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and, it lands on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 6, like that. I don't think you're gonna have any problems though. All right, it's by the time you get to the last bridge and you're building into the chorus. I mean, when you get to this "Great Are You, Lord" part and then into the final chorus, it's guns a-blazing. Let them open up. If you've got enough sopranos, do the soprano divisi and let it. I intended for those harmony parts to be tight, to feel very satisfying to sing together. They're obviously singing a different melodic part, but I think by this point, you've already sung the choir. Why am I messing that up? You've already sung the chorus twice. I think people get it. The choir is singing this simple melody against the main chorus melody. I don't think it's going to throw anybody off. I would just suggest you let the choir go there. Have fun with it. When they highlight the melody, pour out your praise, let them sing it with gusto only. Like I said, pretty straightforward arrangement. Hope this tutorial has been helpful for you. Again, if you don't have this sheet music and you like it, centeredworship.com is where it's at. Thank you for watching.